y'all. Welcome back to another episode of More Than a Title, episode 229, y'all. We've been partying our ass off, y'all. We've been working, but you already know what it is, man. Sorry for the episode. We didn't give y'all an episode on Tuesday, but guess what? We're going to make up for it today. I'm your host, as usual, Jared, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital, and of course, I got my brother, my brethren, your favorite CEO, Cuzzo. What's the vibes?
In the building, man. You know what it is, man. It's Thursday. Since we didn't have an episode on Tuesday, this officially becomes my favorite day of the week. Hard day. You know what it is, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. It's your favorite episode. You see what it is now. We got 2 and 2, so we're going to have more of an even episode because there's going to be a lot of testosterone in the building. So, of course, I got my sister, I got my brother, but I also got my sister in the Hollywood Square down there, Nadej, and we call her The Balance.
What's good, my bros? Yes, today is pod day, and we got a great guest. So I'm ready to get started. We're gonna have a good conversation. I'm good vibes. It's been a great. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a pretty great week for me. So we're gonna keep it going.
Well, share it real quick. What's up? What's happening?
Hey, what's no,
just little. Like it's just been smooth. Like no stress. Like things. When like little things. Just like thanks God. Just. Like little stress, things that stress you out, and then God just reminds you, it's okay. Just like little things, like that parking spot. I ain't had to pay for my gas this week. Like,
you got free gas this week. Oh, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just little blessings to make the week go by better.
I like it. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I wish I got free motherfucking gas. You know what I'm saying? Because if I had free gas, I'm gonna tell you something.
In the world, what's his name again? God damn it, I had it right there.
I fucked it up.
I'm done. Hold on. What's the great one thing? I'm done.
Yeah, GT.
Driving. Forrest Gump of driving.
There you go. I had it right there. Driving. The Forrest Gump of driving. If I had free gas, I'd never stop. Here we go. But you know how we like to start the show. We like to fuck around. But G&T, grateful and thankful. Let me tell y'all something, man. Once again, right, we got a bunch of calls and we got a bunch of texts this week from random people that this show is affecting, right? Random, right? Unsolicited, letting us know that they are watching, that they love the show, they love the content. This came from guests and not only guests, but this came from fans and supporters of the show. So once again, G&T just goes out to you guys for helping us keep the show alive, for letting us know that the content that we are providing to you is appreciated and you want us to keep going. So real simple, G&T, and I'm ready to get started. But before I do, I got to say the word phenomenal, because I know if I don't say it, y'all gonna curse me out in the comments later. So we got another phenomenal guest, and I'm interested to hear this queen story. I ain't get the chance to meet her yet, so we're gonna meet her on the show, but I guarantee you she gonna drop some gems. So I'm ready. Let's get to it, G&T.
Let's start the show.
Let's get it rocking. Let's get this queen a proper introduction. So first of all, before we begin, for the first time listeners, welcome to More Than a Title. For all the recurring listeners, welcome back. You know what it is, man. We appreciate the love. But this is the realest podcast in the space where we actually talk to the real people about what they've done to get to where they are. And today is no different, y'all. So this young lady right here is a true creative force in the media and beauty space. She's an Indo-Caribbean producer, social media strategist, and a beauty influencer who spent nearly a decade shaping the digital presence of iconic brands like VH1, BET, and MTV. She's the mind behind Black Girl Beauty, an award-winning digital series, and the talent behind red carpet moments that have reached over 300 million views, y'all. Think the VMAs, BET Awards, the NAACP Image Awards, and the Met Gala. And she isn't just about numbers, she's about the narrative. So she's committed to creating space for the Caribbean women, telling stories that are often overlooked and using beauty as a vehicle for cultural conversations, y'all. So with that being said, you've seen her on the red carpet.
Boom.
You've seen her in the boardrooms.
Yes.
You've seen her at the events.
For sure.
You've seen that Pilates with sis. I don't know. You might have.
Might have.
But you now, she's on your favorite podcast, rocking with the team. Let's introduce our girl, Miss Sarita Nauth. Yeah, I hope I said that right. I think I botched the last name.
It's not.
I did it right. All right. I said, I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yes.
Thank
Welcome
you
to
guys
the
for
show.
Nate Judge, and thank you guys so much for having me on this show. I'm very grateful to be here. So definitely feeling that grateful energy for the week ahead. Well, it's already Thursday. I mean, I cannot believe it. This week has gone by so fast.
Thank God.
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I'm Caribbean.
Okay, all right. What island you
Hold on,
represent?
hear me out.
Let him finish that statement.
I'm Caribbean at least one time a year.
Oh,
Last Sunday for the parade, I'm Caribbean too. I give me a flag. I don't care what country I'm repping. I'm outside for Juvia.
you warned me. You said.
I got the accent. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Walk into Haitian.
Yeah, man. They like jerk chicken.
Nigga accent. You got the screw face accent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sis, welcome to the show, sis. You know how we like to start, because we want the people to really learn your story, sis. So tell us a little bit about growing up, some early influences.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Listen, I am one of those people. I'm big on manifesting. I'm one of those people who I'm like, you really can like make the career that you want. So I was born in Guyana, raised in Belize. I came here at a really, really young age. So for me, like I would grow up and always see like my mom watching like, ET Entertainment Tonight. Like it's very much like it's something that I really, truly was just like, this is not a career that like growing up was like something that like media entertainment was a profitable thing, right? So for like, there's no money in it, it wasn't like a thing of being like, oh, like, yeah, you can do that. Doctor, nurse, everything like that, that's not a thing, right? So for me, I'm just, for me, I'm gonna be real Caribbean right now. My dad needs my car keys, okay? And he needs it right now. And it's in my bag because I keep trying to tell him right now. So I gotta get my dad my car keys right
Listen,
now.
we know
what
what's
car are you driving with all those keys?
With how many cars?
I ain't gonna lie, Sarita, I need a job because with that many car keys is crazy. Small garage over there.
Yeah.
Pick one y'all want.
So again, right back on track, guys. So basically for me, I really didn't understand what I was going to do, but I just had a dream, right? So when I was younger, I was in high school, growing up in New York City. I knew for some weird reason I wanted to work with celebrities. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I was going to. So I was like, go into Times Square, going to chase all these celebrities. It was kind of a crazy dream. So I went to the High School of Fashion Industries. I studied fashion design for my entirety of high school, went to FIT, but I would always go around this building called 1515 Broadway. So it's literally dead in the middle of Times Square. And now some people have seen my interview and they've heard this story, but again, I've always said this now that I'm at the other end of my career and I've closed that chapter. It's been so full circle because some people always believe that you can't really get to where you want to be. And I'm like, no, I manifested my dream job and I'm going to be loud about that because I know the next chapter of my life, I don't know where it's going to be, but it's going to happen because I did it once before and I'm going to do it again.
Message.
Going back to, when I was 18 years old, I don't know what was going up on those escalators. I would always see different celebrities in that building all the time. That's where TRL was. That's where the biggest media entertainment company was. This is Viacom. And I said, I don't know what's there, but all I know is that that's the home of MTV. That's the home of VH1. I'm going to be there some way, somehow. And I hustled for years and years and years and years and tried to, be an intern, try to do all these things. And then when the opportunity presented itself, I started fall of 2014 as an intern at VH1 and never left until they finally got me last year in 2024. So I've been there for 10 years and wow, has it been an incredible 10 years. And it's been such a journey because it's one of those things where like I watched little Sarita, like the last day when I went down those escalators, I was just like grateful because I said, I did it. Like I did something that I literally didn't know where it was going to end up.
Screaming baby. You're mute, sis.
Thank you. Okay. No, now you on mute, but thank you. All right. So no, I love that story. So let's go. I want to go back into young Sarita, like, right? What was it like growing up in Belize, then moving to America, right? What was that transition like? And then again, like as you're starting to grow up in the US, like what was that experience like? What kind of influences did you have? Like, was like your mom a powerful influence? Aunties, who was like your tribe?
So growing up so I was born in Guyana, raised in Belize. I definitely did not feel like I fit in at all. It was definitely an odd sort of parent. When you grow up in a third world country, it's not the same. A lot of people think that I come from some type of privileged background, but when I say Caribbean, I'm really Caribbean, and it is one of those things that I thank God every single day that I didn't know, again, how I was going to make it. But I'm so grateful to my parents for just telling me that we came here to America to make a difference in our lives. And that was the biggest part of my story. I didn't know how I was going to make it, but I knew that I would. And it was a culture shock. When we lived in Belize, we lived in Corozal Town, and Corozal Town is predominantly Spanish. So we're like the only brown family living in a predominantly Spanish town. And it was an adjustment period. I went to a fully Spanish speaking school. I went, I did not know how to speak with like always hearing a Guyanese accent, because Guyana is the only, English speaking country in South America. And then going to Belize in Central America, it was a hard adjustment, and then moving to New York when I was around 8 years old. So it was definitely a lot of shifts in my life, and I've always had to learn how to adapt. So that is definitely, those changes definitely took me a long time. And whilst people see this person who vibrantly, exude Caribbean energy, it took me a long time to acknowledge my Caribbean heritage and really sit with the acceptance and acknowledgement of who I am and where I came from. So that will definitely became an integral part of my culture and my identity that we now see has shifted the narrative in media that we see now. And I have to give myself my own flowers because I see it affecting other people around me. And I know that how I'm the reasoning for that. And I give myself the flowers because the proof is in the pudding of what I've seen.
Message. Hey, I ain't mad at it.
I mean,
keeps it
real. She keeps it real. I'm giving myself my own flowers. You heard? I mean, we talk about that all the time. I think that's a very important part of understanding who you are before you become the woman that you are today. The cultural balance of how do you fit in, right? Like you said, you come from one place that, okay, we speak English, everybody else don't. Then you move to another place and they're like, they speak Spanish, right? And of course, the Spanish people are brown people, but we understand exactly what you're saying, right? And now it's like, okay, now I have to fit into this culture. Do I lose my traditional accent at that time, right? Do I try to speak Spanish? Do I try to pick up the Spanish accent? Things of that nature. Did you find it more difficult at that age, right? The learning aspect, right? Not only the fitting in, but the learning aspect of going to a school that only speaks Spanish, teaches in Spanish. I want to talk about that. Like, what was that like? Because now you're like fully immersed. You don't have time to kind of catch up. You kind of like, you got to get it or don't. Like, how did you navigate that? Did you have a tutor or something? Like, because that's really rough on a young kid to have to, go to school in a completely different language.
Yeah, no, I literally was 3 years old to like, those few years that I was there. Like, I did not know how to say the word rat. Right. And it's the funniest thing. I know you're trying to be serious about it, but like, I think some people, often underestimate, how like impoverished countries and how like certain things are. Like, your school literally is like, this is where you live, this is where your school is. And like, because I would get in trouble all the time, my name's Sarita, like people would always, like in Spanish speaking countries, it was very easy for them to say, but I always had very much a speech impediment in that way. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know how to say certain words. So now that I do speak and use my voice for different reasons, and even now I find it when I'm teaching classes and I'm educating people, it's very much trips me up. You know, I feel like as a producer in my usual day job, it's easier when I speak to a camera, when I speak to other people, when I'm inspiring other people, it's different. But when I was doing that learning curve, it was very hard. And I think that as a child, I was very like good at like, now when I'm older, I'm like, damn, I wish I had learned, a little bit of Spanish. Cause, people from the Bronx, like people, everybody in New York, you could do a little bit of Spanish to get something at the deli, like you could be, that's useful now. But at that point in time, I did not realize the significance of it in general. But I will say that the cultural impact of having Belize in my life and that place being my home definitely created a part of me that I had to like learn to love even more, because it wasn't Guyana. I can't sit and lie and say, oh, like Guyana is like my home. I left there when I was 3. That is not where home originally is for 3-year-old Sarita. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all was thinking this. I'm thinking it like, what's one of your best memories growing up in Belize? As one of your best or worst memories when you came to the U.S.? What's one thing that stuck out to you?
Oh yeah. So best memory is actually very sentimental. I don't know how sentimental we get on here, but I actually had a friend, Natalia. Because very Caribbean of me, I don't know how to swim. So we used to live right by the water. And so I would go in the mornings with this young girl. Her name was Natalia. And I would always go in the water with her. And because the water was very shallow in the mornings, I would try to like swim with her. But because the water was shallow, you would hear the manatees. So when I would duck my head under the water, I would hear the manatees in the mornings. And that was just such a beautiful moment. And it would rain, and like, having my only friend there. I think now as I got older, I found out that as I got older, I found out that there were people of color on the other side of Belize. I said, oh shit, there's Haitian people over there. There's French Creole people over there. And then I was just like, oh, there's other people in the other part. And now my parents are actually, going back there on vacation and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I told them, bring me back some goat cheese bread, bring me back stuff that I grew up like eating and stuff like that made me feel like back home. But I will say, coming to America, it was like, you're really sold in that dream that New York is everything. And, it's all of these things. It wasn't. It was definitely a culture shock, and being in New York in all of its totality. So I would say there's not really one particular thing. It's just the dirtiness of New York.
You talking about Brooklyn, maybe, not the Bronx.
Oh no, I grew up in Queens. So
the dirtiness is crazy.
Queens equals clean.
The dirtiness is crazy.
Yeah.
Something about my block eye.
Okay.
I live in a neighborhood.
So I guess because I want to know, like, what's a really good memory, like when you now you're here in America, you're in New York, like what's one of those first like really good memories you had, like, and I'm gonna add part 2 that established like you feeling like at home.
It's so funny because like I actually remember going to Atlantic City for the first time. And that was when it was popping, but I like have a very like significant photo of like me at Atlantic City with like a giant like plushie. I think that was kind of like my best memory because like I first got here and that was like the first place that like my cousin took me to in like Coney Island. So I will say that when I was a kid, I did get to experience like the greats of New York City before it became what it is now. And now when I go to Atlantic City, it's not the same, but that energy of like New York City and the vibrancy, that I will say is like my best memories of like getting to experience the joy of New York City before that. So Coney Island and Atlantic City in that regard. I didn't know where the hell I was going, but I was just like, I realized, damn, what city type far, all those tolls and shit, but then now I'm like, oh, that was really nice. Like, riding a cyclone and doing all of that. So definitely I will say those were some of the aha moments, so yeah.
But you said something important earlier before we just want to segue this, right? You said something important. You just knew you was going to do it. You willed yourself to the internship. I want to know exactly what you did in order to get the internship. Mm-hmm. But before that, what gave you the mindset, right? Because it's one thing when you come here and say, yo, I'm gonna be what I'm gonna be? You know, what was mama loving them doing? Like, what was the influence? What was that like to make you believe that I'm gonna fucking go do this?
Oh, bullying. Oh, I have. Oh, your haters are your biggest motivators. I listen. One thing about it, and two things for sure. Okay. I can't cuss on here, can I? No, I don't know.
Oh, you can.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. New York, when you go to school in New York, love to try to tell you can't do something. And when someone tells me that I can't do anything, I'm going to do it tenfold. So basically, I did have people in school tell me, you're never going to meet the Jonas Brothers. You're never going to do this. And when you tell like a young kid that you're never going to meet their favorite celebrity or whatnot, you're like, yes, I will. And you're like, fuck, I don't know how to do that. Right. And it's funny because I put it out there in the universe. I said, I've got these girls bullying me, telling me that I am doing that. But I'm just like, I'm not approaching it the same way that they are. I want to approach it strategically. I'm just like, I'm teacher's pet. I usually run all the stuff for all the fashion shows. I'm usually a little bit more packaged and well put together. So I had it in my mind that I said, I'm going to go, see where Miley Cyrus was playing on the Today Show, which was actually further down the block in like Columbus Circle, like from Columbus Circle when you're on Central Park. So one summer, I basically said, I'm going to spend that summer looking for the Jonas Brothers. And it's funny because this is how, and this story actually does come into true full alignment. When I went to that summer, that day, didn't see Miley Cyrus. I walked all the way up the block to the Trump Hotel, to where they were staying at the time. It was New York City. This was years ago. And I went there, and just so happened their tour bus was there. And within 5 minutes of standing there, nobody else was there. Kevin Jonas and Nick Jonas came out of that hotel, and I have a photo with both of them. No anything crazy. And I met them and got a great photo. And the photo signed me one of my largest beauty deals to this day. So to this day, you never know who you are going to meet. And that's the reason why being nice to everyone, unless they give you a reason not to be nice to them, is exactly the reason, why. Like, I didn't have like a great camera. So she took the photo for me. She sent it to me on maybe MySpace, Facebook, wherever it was at the time. And to this day, I'm grateful to her. Years later, we reconnected. She worked at a beauty brand. She said, you'd be great for that. And I signed a deal with that beauty brand, and I got paid for that.
Message. Well, I'm gonna start by saying this. I gotta say this because I know we're in alignment, because if you feel like you're gonna do the opposite, then you will not partner with more than the title. You cannot partner with more than the title, because you're not good enough. You're not good enough to partner with more than the title and us do a brand deal and us make something happen, because you're just not good enough. It's impossible.
This is bullying. I'm not a fan of it.
He used to be real bully back in the day. He's changed.
No, but that's one of the for all the things that New York City isn't. I'm glad you brought that up. That is something that actually New York City is very famous for, because I want to say it's the unofficial capital of the United States. People want to argue, but it's really the unofficial capital of the United States. You want to make it in music, you come to New York. Fashion is New York. The money runs through New York. Everything runs through New York. So the reality is what you said. You never know, especially walking around the areas in which they are famous for doing business in certain things. There's always celebrities. There's always people of influence walking up and down the street, getting a cup of coffee, getting something to eat, and things of that nature. So just you being in those areas, a lot of times you'll bump into people if you recognize them. And, like you said, it's up to you to have the courage to, not bombard them, but go up and say, hey, man, this is who I am. And, can I get a picture? Or I'd like to introduce myself. So New York is definitely good for that. If you have the energy and the courage to do that. So kudos to you for, stepping outside your box, so to speak, right? Your comfort zone in a place that clearly you don't know, right? You had to get directions to go there, and right, it probably was a journey for you to get there and say, but this is what I'm gonna do. And look, it actually turned out for you. So I like that.
That's just real.
Yeah.
I was gonna go back to the. How'd you get that? What you do for the internship?
Yeah.
Okay,
that
so
would be my next question. Yeah.
you say it like what I do for the internship.
I'm just saying that you kept they kept denying you. You know what I'm saying? Like.
So at the time in New York City, you couldn't really have an internship, especially at a large media company, until you were until you were a junior in college. So I was like, okay, I did not know that for a little bit. So what I did was what I implore anybody who takes any type of mentorship or wants to work with me. I always say that you get close to the people who are in those same rooms. I ended up going to panels and said whoever was working at MTV at the time, even if it was a different department, somebody always knows somebody who knows somebody. So I continued to make those connections through LinkedIn, send my thank you notes. So that was how I made those connections. And then I navigated through those spaces. And then when the opportunity presented itself, I originally interviewed for the communications department at VH1. And then the opportunity opened up for a social media position at VH1. Now, I originally was like, I don't really know. I really wanted MTV. I wanted a specific thing. And that was when patience and knowing that, again, everything that I want and I'm going to get. And I will say that check mark to everything. I look back at those 10 years and I done everything I possibly can do and then some. So it's like, even if it started off at VH1, but by the time I look back at the 10 years, my credentials said VH1, MTV, BET, and then even Paramount Network, and then everything else in between, Met Gala, all these other award shows. And I was just like, I look back and I just cry. I think I knew it was coming just because large media companies right now, the entertainment industry is shifting so much. If you look at the news even today, that there's a lot of things, a lot of people, they don't understand that some chapters do have to end. And I was like, at first I was like, damn, I'm like the cockroach in the apocalypse. They ain't gonna get me. Right. And, but then eventually I kind of felt it. I said, look, it's my time. But I'm glad because comfortability is never going to get me out of, I'm going to get comfortable here and I'm going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over. Where is the shift for me to get into a new space? Where is it going to happen? Because I became a content creator at my day job in 2016. So I was basically running my whole entire life in 2 jobs simultaneously in between that entire time. So it's like I never stopped hustling during that entire, everything, because I wasn't just going to let a corporate, job stop me.
Message. Yeah. That's a message.
Yeah. Y'all know I don't press the button, so I know. Don't.
Yeah, she's like, at some point in time, I got the button access taken away. So.
No, I just be like, they know when to do it. I'm pretty.
I'm curious to see your timing. Press the damn button.
So I want to go into the content creation. So when did you decide okay, I'm gonna start content creating, and then when did it become you can make this a job, make money?
So 2016 is when I started doing that, because before paying for college in New York City was very hard. I had 7 different jobs. I worked at Subway making sandwiches. I became, I worked at the salon 2 doors down from that. I was in a makeup and social media assistant for a makeup artist. I was doing a lot. Some odd other business, I was working with it. It was a lot happening before I got to a stable corporate job. But my love for beauty never kind of subsided. I still loved seeing, the YouTubers, the Jackie Inas, the girls that are painting their faces. And I'm like, I do this all the time. I might as well just, start to film it and record it. And that was the height of the beauty influencer sphere. That was the height of the beauty festivals. And I wanted to capitalize on that. I said, look, I learned from, award-winning makeup artists. I did it in high school. I know what I can do. And so I did it with what I could. And I went to the festivals. I got the clients. I paid my dues. And that was what kind of helped. But in that moment, something had already started to encapsulate. That was the start of the glamour social media maven. She was born during 2014, 2016. So that was how she became a thing. You know, my brand was born because I would work at red carpet events as early as being an intern in 2014, but I started working my first red carpet officially on the team in 2015. And it was fall 2015 into 2016. And I would always have glamorous makeup, always presentable. And that's how that goes back to my Caribbean heritage and my mom sort of like, you know, always saying, oh, you always got to dress up, you know, but when you leave the house. And I did just that. If I'm going to LA, no one knows me there. I don't have any friends there. You know, I'm going to dress up and be myself. So I painted my face up, you know, looked nice, looked good. People always say, oh, did you hire a makeup artist for this? And what it helped is that it stopped every single celebrity.
Message.
Being presentable allowed me to get attention in not an obnoxious way, but being myself allowed for me to say, oh my God, I love your lashes. Oh my God, I love your hair. Oh my God, I love this. And I'm like, thank you so much. I love yours too. Can I get a photo of you for VH1's Instagram? Oh, can you like use our Twitter mirror for this and that? Like, oh, Vanessa Williams, can I get this? Oh, like Mariah Carey, can I get this? Monica, can I get that? That was what helped make me the person that my bosses always said, well, Sarita's going to go to LA today because I trust her to do it because everyone loves her. And that was where I used myself as that sort of vehicle and that catalyst to create the glamour social media maven. And it wasn't until I got laid off that I reintroduced her as like, I lost her for a little bit. And then I kind of brought her back and said, I haven't really been able to feed her in the way that I needed to. So, because then I was just like, wait, I do have Brandon for my own brand. I just haven't really been pouring into her. So that was really where she became like something.
We have a saying: teach them how to fish, they'll learn you sell fishing poles. That was that to a T. So for anybody listening, like if you want to sell a product, especially on social media, whether you're selling social media strategy, whatever it is, do what you are selling. Show them. You have to drink your own Kool-Aid. You have to show them. You have to make brands want to come to you. You have to be creative. Show them that you can be creative. If you're going to be creative for your own brand, imagine what you would do for theirs when they're paying.
Right.
So that's what you drink your own Kool-Aid or drink this. I've been hearing so many people say that is actually rooted in cult and like something that happened in Guyana. I hate it. Like,
you ain't giving me a check. We can change.
I got Did you, when you went to FIT, because did you stay in the dorms in FIT? Did you stay on campus, or did you was you a student that went back and forth?
I commuted. I did 2 degrees and a minor at FIT. I interned at different places. So I did a associates in fashion merchandise management, and I did which is also again another thing that where rejection is your own protection. And I'm glad that you actually brought that up, because it goes back to your what Jared was saying about how did you get your internship. I got my associates in fashion merchandise management, minors in Asian studies, and then my bachelor's in advertising, marketing, communications. During that entire time, I was also part of the Public Relations Student Society of America, where I was going to different conferences, panels, where I was meeting industry professionals who was, you know, in marketing communications. And that would allow me to be like, oh, someone works in media, someone works here, someone works there. Let me get their card. Let me connect with them on LinkedIn. Let me bring them into the school, et cetera, et cetera. So while I was doing that, I remember the summer before I got my internship, I was devastated that I didn't get the presidency. And I remember crying to one of my friends at that point in time. And I said, no, I said, God has something better for me planned that's going to occupy my time, that's going to make sure that I'm too busy to be the president of this chapter. And that was the internship that then launched this career for me.
Got you by a 1/10 of a second.
You did. It was about to, and that you know, that's a beautiful story. We my background is in construction. So right around that time, the reason I asked you that is because I was a part of the project that actually built the dorm rooms for FIT. Because they needed, it's a very expensive school, and they needed, and it's such a demand for
Kaufman on 30.
Yeah. Well, we did the one right across the street from the club called The Shadow. I don't know if you ever remember the club called The Shadow. WBLS used to go there a lot. It was like a older crowd, but it was like right across the street from the club and The Shadow. I think it was on like 28th and 7th or something like that. 28th and 7th, right? It was like 28th and 7th. We actually built them an entire building because it was such a high demand for that school. And I got a chance to meet a lot of the faculty and stuff that worked there. And I got a chance to look at the programming there. It was a very rigorous program. Can you talk about the pressures of not only having to pay for such an expensive school, but like I said, the programming was rigorous. How did you deal with that type of rigorous program and doing all of the things that you're not going to school and then going home and study? Like, you're going to school, then going to work. How did you manage that? How did you juggle that?
I would say something had to be sacrificed during all of that. And there's a cost for everything. Right. And I will say that how before, people like to, cast judgments, but I will say the two things that I did sacrifice during that time was my dating life and my physical health. So those are two things. I never dated for about 10 years when I focused on my career, and which was okay for me. And I never really focused so much on my health and wellness like I am now, or in the past, I would say after the pandemic. Well, that was 10 years.
No, you can't unpack that.
You can't past that.
I was trying to figure out where the dam was for. I was like, about
wait a minute, 10 years?
10 years? And they like, let me holler at you.
Oh Lord, you think that's so weird, but like,
I'm 32.
Yeah, right. I've been single for almost 8 years now.
Huh?
You said what?
I've been single for almost 8 years.
Give her a damn too.
Damn! It's crazy that men think that y'all like that's all women do.
Yeah, like
it's because now Des be out there be like, I'm pretty, and the guys be like,
liked you anyway, pretty motherfucker.
Ain't no ground.
No. I was waiting to use that one. Just saying.
Yeah,
keep it up.
Oh,
but I would love that from both of you. I would love to unpack that for real.
Yeah, we have to unpack that.
You're going through your career. You're popping off your dreams. Why wouldn't you want somebody to support you? Or
right?
Because some people are not worth bringing to you, with you to the top. And I'm gonna tell you that right now. No, because I'm gonna tell you that right now. When you're working, and I'm gonna go. Listen, y'all thought that y'all brought someone all nice up on this podcast, okay?
Yeah, no.
Because I will get back.
I knew who I was getting on this show. They
no, listen. I mean, if you want to tell a story, it's third period. Let's get the let's get the bell going. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. I didn't work at BET for no reason. I didn't work on Love and Hip Hop for no reason. Okay.
Right.
So when I tell you some people don't deserve to go to the top with you, and especially when people realize that, and I recently had an experience with that, and I talk about it on my social media, and I don't want to waste what my social media's purpose is. But I've had an experience right now about someone who's even used the little amount of fame that I've accumulated for myself for themselves. When someone doesn't accumulate any fame for themselves and they see what you worked hard, you guys have heard my story. That is only a fraction of my story. So someone comes in, haven't built anything for themselves. They said, oh, I'm going to take that out and I'm going to use her. That's not what I want. So the power of discernment and what you build for yourself, you got to really protect that shit. You really got to make sure that the people who come near you, especially when it comes to dating, whoever you prefer, cannot be someone who is not equally yoked with you and wants to pour into your cup the way that you pour into your own. So if you
that's nice.
Pardon me, sugar bop, honey bun. I don't mean it in the set.
Don't mean it in the set. Don't mean it in the set.
You come into my life, you gotta add something, okay? But listen, when you come in here and you subtract something from my life, there's nothing, it's either gonna be a lawsuit or these hands. And so
you're a very smart woman, right?
Right. Let's go.
Why are we allowing somebody who doesn't have that from Jump Street? Why is he getting the door?
Right.
Where's the accountability part? Why are we allowing this Joe Schmo?
The accountability comes with a really important lesson here.
Dope.
When you lose your job of 10 years, you think, and this goes to exactly what the title of your podcast is, You are more than the title of your job. And that was a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. When I lost my job, I lost myself. I lost Sarita Nauth. I lost Sarita Nauth, senior social media manager at VH1, MTV, and BET, and producer. But I had to remember that I was always Sarita Nauth, the glamour social media maven. Always. And I had to remember that. And I learned that lesson the hard way. So that entire thing made me realize that I gave my time and my energy to someone who was siphoning that from me. And I let them do that because I met someone 2 days later. I lost my job and I let that vulnerability and like really take over me. And that's something that I talk about and I admit it because that is the accountability. That is saying that how, damn, I let something in my life like a poison and I that ain't gonna happen anymore because I realized that I'm someone outside of my job.
But we got
yeah, go ahead, Cuzzo, because I'm with you. I'm with you, Cuzzo. Go ahead. I'm with you.
I just don't want, like, especially for both of y'all, right?
Yeah,
there's a lot of good brothers out there that are doing the right thing. Me and Cuzzo included. I'm not saying we, you know what I'm saying, but we are good men, good fathers, good men, have our own motion, all that other shit. There are men like that for y'all. So I just don't want y'all to be jaded and say, yo, like this dude is that. That was just that.
Oh, I'm fully aware. I'm so sorry to cut you off. I am fully aware that I'm going to find the love of my life. The same way that I am so fully convicted, the same way that I am so aware and convinced and grateful and delusional almost to the fact that when you throw the trash out and or even when you level up and I had a friend tell me this, my friend, Trell Thomas, amazing guy. We went to the White House together, when we celebrated the Black Excellence Brunch. We did this last year before the other presidency. When we went to the White House together, we said it, we had this moment where we said we made it. Because when we were, walking past each other and, talking about this dream that he had in 2017 at VH1, he worked to Save the Music and whatnot. And when we were looking at each other at the White House and we were about to cry, we were crying at that point in time, we were like, this is something that we were so delusional in our conviction. We said it. We were like, this started off as something so little, but now here we are. And that is just testament to know that, like, yeah, this shitty thing happened, but it was a lesson for me to understand and learn that, like, there's something way better out there for me. And I'm going to make sure that it's coming. It's coming. I'm cleansing myself. So basically, my good friend told me this. He said that how when you play a video game and you get all the little treasures and everything like that, you pass that level. If you go back to that level, you got all the treasure, you got all the loot. That's it. There's nothing there for me to go back to. It's done. It's gone.
I can respect that, but let me present it to you this way. Your story is a story of which a person has persevered by constantly doing a thing. Constantly doing a thing. You constantly worked at your craft. You constantly did a thing and that worked for you. Relationships are the exact same way. You understand what I'm saying? I'm telling you right now, as an older gentleman, right? If you don't have the experience in dating, right, that gives you experience. You only dating every 10 years or something like that. You might meet a person, but you might be so inexperienced dating wise that you might not even be ready to accept what that man is bringing to the table because you don't have the experience in dating. You understand? Dating, yes, it has a lot to do with your economic situation, your religious beliefs and things of that nature, but it also has a lot to do with your interaction with people, right? And this is why a lot of these young kids nowadays, these newer generations, they're finding like it's almost impossible to date them because they didn't go through what we went through when we were younger. See, when we were younger, we were outside. We dated, we got rejection, we got this, and we learned. But see, these new kids don't have that now. There's none of that interaction. So to believe that you can being successful in your job is not the same as being successful in dating. It's two different things.
Oh, and I've learned that.
That's what I'm saying. So you can transfer things, but you have to understand that the same effort that you put into at work to persevere, you have to put into dating, because you're inexperienced. You would be inexperienced, and then now what?
And you meet Mr. Right.
Right. Now what? Right now you're expecting him to say, well, I have a great career. I have this, I have that. Pour into me and build with me and accept my, let's say, deficiency in dating and help build me. But you're on the opposite side. You're saying you're not willing to do that for another person. You see how that goes?
Yeah. And I respect that.
You see how that goes?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to leave you with this. And I'm going to leave you with this. You and Nadej can get away with that. You and Nadej can get away with that because you are two beautiful brown women, and men date for beauty primarily, and women date for stability. See, we couldn't get away with that shit. If we not dope,
she couldn't get away with that.
No, she couldn't get away with that. You understand? But you women, and it's not a bad thing, but it is a bad thing, right? Because again, you can get away with that because a successful man and stuff. Our main attraction is the beauty first, right? And we'll let a lot of things slide and build. But on the reverse, you looking as a successful businesswoman now towards a man, you're not going to give us the same grace that we would give you. And that's a problem.
And that's fine. And that's understandable.
We had this conversation already. What's for me won't miss me.
And here's the thing. And what's for me won't
message. Say that again.
What's for me, and I'll say this with the utmost respect and disrespect, what's for me won't put their hands on me. So I won't stay in people, places, and things. And this is where I end and move on from that portion of the conversation. What I will not tolerate is disrespect. Regardless if someone is successful, accomplished, equally, a loser is a loser. Someone who thrives off of my success, regardless. I have dated men who are directors, are producers, are men who you would be very surprised would be considered equally yoked very early on in my career, significantly older than me. Just because I only chose to have boyfriends later on in my life did not mean that I didn't date or have gone out on dates. I definitely did, right? And just because I chose to protect myself in that way, I'm glad, and I do take pride in that, because when it came to dating, and now that I'm on the other end, I'm like, I'm not missing out on anything, because at least I know that when it comes to a real conversation with a human being, I can actually provide something other than how many people I've slept with and where I've gone to sleep with someone. That is unfortunately what some men have been able to provide when it comes to an intellectual conversation that I've had with some people, or what they've accomplished in high school versus what they've done in the tenure of their life past high school or college. So the thing is that unfortunately, I found it that there has been a deficiency in sort of education and a flourishment of life past, college, and this rumination on what they've previously accomplished in their young, immaturity and living with their parents. And when they get to the other end, there are some amazing men out there, and I am so grateful. I'm fortunate to have met some of them, and unfortunately, some of those chapters didn't work out, and that's totally fine. But when it comes to who you are as a person, like Nadej said, I'm going to attract the person that is meant for me, that person who respects me, doesn't use me for my clout, for anything like that. They're going to uplift me in rooms that I'm in. They're not going to put their hands on me. They're not going to lie on my name. They're going to speak highly of me in every room that I'm not in. So, and they're not going to cheat on me. They're not going to, disrespect me. They're not going to do just that. And that was exactly the reason why I was like, I'm not missing out on anything. So I said, and then that's where the internal work comes from. And that's when you say, what part about me attracted this? And how can I do a better job? Because you're right. I don't have experience in dating and practice. Absolutely. I am a firm believer. I never said that I didn't date. And I did have boyfriends. I did. I spent from age 29. I did start dating. I'm 32 now. I have 3 years of dating experience underneath my belt. So I will say that it is a full-time job. As a young woman, you do unfortunately have to invest. But until I see some type of quality, then I'm not really missing out on anything.
Not mad at it.
I respect it. Message.
I've been on the show. I'm gonna say this. I think you were one of the first guests we had. Shut them up. So thank you.
Oh no. She didn't shut me up. She didn't shut me up.
Yeah.
She said she wanted to get off the topic.
This is we could have got deep.
Absolutely. She said she wanted to get off the topic. Absolutely. So we're gonna get off the topic.
I want to move on to more of like I want to go back into your career, like experience working in the social media space for these big brands and stuff. Like, what was that like, right? From going to an intern, now like you work there full time and your tenured career there, like that's amazing. Give us the synopsis.
I will say that, remember, pre-pandemic, everyone, like, you're young, you're hungry. First one in the office, last one to leave. Made friends with all of the executive assistants. They're the ones who really know what's going on in the entertainment industry. They're the ones whose ears are closest to everything. I made sure that I was friendly, kind, courteous to everyone, double-checked all my work. But I did have mistakes. I did have flaws. I did respond to emails a little bit too quickly. I did, have like mess ups when it comes to some of my social media posts. And like, there were so many different learnings that I had to go through that now Sarita is just kind of like, never do that. But I will say that is the whole point of being young and growing. There's some people I've noticed now, and they're, young people don't want to work. Unfortunately, they don't want to. They want to get immediately to the access to the red carpets and the growth and the learning and everything. And I'm like, no, you do have to work yourself from the bottom to the top. This is not immediate. This is hard work. This is exactly just that. And I had put so much work into my strategies, my connections, my relationships. And I'm grateful that I did just that, because it did build who I am. So that started with the, again, attention to detail. Again, the sacrifices that I had to make with myself. I had to hustle really, really hard in that way. Being a team player, being able to elegantly articulate myself. That's that sort of thing when you're talking to people, working with agencies at a young age. I was running agencies for America's Next Top Model, The Breaks, working with high-end executives. I am grateful I had bosses that put me in rooms where they said, oh no, you're doing the RFP for this agency. You're presenting, Sarita. So I said, okay. And then there were opportunities where I raised my hand and I didn't have to.
We lost him.
Opportunities without budget, and I asked for.
There we go. Okay.
We lost you for a second.
Yeah, we lost you for a second. I just, we talk about I'm glad you talked about internships, and coming in through that way. My question is, going up through the ranks now and starting to realize your worth, right? Did you ever feel like you took a position or opportunity where you weren't getting paid exactly what you felt like you deserved, and you sacrificed the pay for the opportunity? Can you speak on something like that?
Yeah, I definitely had to. There were some opportunities. I will say in beauty, I definitely did a lot, that was for free. And I even now in a content creator space, sometimes we do a lot, for free, or people think products pay the bills, but they really don't, or clout pays the bills, or likes of views pay the bills. That's not true. But I will say that early on in my career, I was able to say that, but knowing your worth, especially when now I'm in this chapter in this season where I'm like, I have the credentials and I don't give myself enough credit to say that I have worked. I don't need someone to say, I had someone recently say that I clap for you because it's really hard for Caribbean women in the industry. And I'm like, what industry are you talking about? Because I have worked my ass off to get to where I am. And that is, if I have been backstage at the VMAs, the red carpets, and I will, every time I have my high access credential, I thank God immediately. I am backstage and I am praying and I thank God every single time, no matter how busy, running around, anything, always. It's always a sense of gratitude wherever I'm at. So I think that I have taken those opportunities, but I try to do my best now to say, actually, no, I deserve to be paid more. I deserve that you're not going to take my stuff and do just that. There are some opportunities where there are people who do need the gems and whatnot. I'm not going to, if a friend needs advice and they need mentorship, absolutely. That's not, there are people who are weird who want to charge for their little affirmation book or their little something. Like, you, what credentials do you have? Like, no offense to y'all, to not you guys, but like to those,
Hated it.
to those people that I see that do that and try to market themselves, love the hustle, appreciate it. But it's like, again, don't know where your credentials are or what you do. But it's, again, it's forged in such a way that I see it now in the entertainment industry that like a year later as trying to get a job. I didn't sit at home and say, oh, I'm not going to work for a year. No, I didn't rely on my severance. I am a year up, no severance, no unemployment. I am like hustling, new sort of path in a different career field, and kind of, again, into it blindly. And I'm not sure where God is going to take me. But I will say that how I'm not going to negate what I've done for those 10 years and not bring that into the forefront.
Message.
So damn, is it
No, I was gonna say we running low. I'm timekeeping, so
I was just about to cook. Well, then go ahead, sis. I was just about to cook.
I mean, what we got? 15 minutes?
no, no, because y'all chat and then I already timed this out. By the time we do the little wrap up, I want us to.
You cooking up? We was cooking.
I know we cooking, but we gotta be considerate. We gotta be considerate, chefs. So we come to the part of the episode where we have my amazing segment. I'm gonna claim it. To any of the black brands out there who want to sponsor this segment, this is your opportunity. We call this segment From the Saucer.
Hold up. Bring it back. We're not sponsoring any segments. You sponsor more than a title.
Ooh, correct. You're gonna sponsor more than a title.
If we do this as a team. So let's do this as a team.
I'm just saying this very,
If I raise up, gonna be trouble.
No, I just gotta say that. I'm letting you cook, sis.
This is part of the brand.
As a founder in this motherfucker, if any brand coming, it's coming for us three.
Of course. But if you
I keeps it real.
I'm not saying
that was a solo shot from half court.
that was not because this segment is part of more of the title.
Go ahead. You know we're gonna do this. Go ahead.
We gotta keep it real.
Wait,
Go ahead.
Oh no, we lost it.
Uh-oh.
Give it a second. No, she was frozen for a second.
Okay, she's gonna come back. That was hilarious.
I gotta keep it real. How you gonna be like, if you want to sponsor, you hit me? Like, you can't do that.
Hold on, she's back. There we go.
I have no idea what happened.
No worries. It's internet. But yeah. So we have a nice segment here on More Than a Title called From the Saucer. Because I like to say, right, you should never pour from your cup. You should fill it up, and what's runneth over is what's in the saucer is what you should pour into others. So if you would take this opportunity to share with our audience something you would pour into their cup from your saucer.
Ooh, that's a really good analogy. I feel like we touched on a lot. But I will say that never underestimate your ability to do something and your ability to rise from the ashes. Mm-hmm. And that is something that I have learned time and time again when it comes to constantly reinventing myself and knowing where I am coming from and like where I'm going. I think that is my biggest sort of message that I have to say to anyone, that like you are constantly reinventing yourself. You're constantly in this energy of doing. And I had so many moments where I just wanted to give up, and trust and believe I tried to give up. And I feel like that conviction, I think that even when I was a young kid growing up in Belize, I said, what am I doing here? I all constantly questioned my existence. And that was also like, I'm a triple Pisces. I'm a very like try to be spiritually in tune person. But it took me a long time to realize that I am meant to be here. And my purpose is to ensure that like I constantly rise. So I hopefully, someone can take from that they're constantly meant to rise.
Message. I like that. I just got one more question for you. You spoke about, the power of just you going in and making friends and making it known that you were going to associate yourself with other people, right? to ensure that your work ethic, when you're not in certain rooms, is spoke about and things of that nature, the power of mentorship. Now, with you being at the level that you are, has any other person younger than you that is the younger version reached out and say, hey, I would love for you to be my mentor? And do you give out mentorships to young men and women, right, that you can pass this, because you have a wealth of knowledge now, down to them and say, hey, these are the mistakes I made, you shouldn't make them, and kind of guide them towards their path to success?
Yeah, I will say that I'm happy that you asked that question, because I'm just excited for the young people that have worked with me over the past 10 years. Some of them have gone on to be directors of social media for bigger brands and have hired me for events to speak on stage. That is one of those things that you learn in any sort of field, that you don't know if the person below you is going to surpass you one day. And that's how I was with certain people who are above me. And so that is, even bosses who have left and gone off to different places, they have still considered me for different opportunities. And for them, I'm still grateful. But I've had, certain coordinators who were, considered beneath me, or like on a different lower position, that have now elevated to managers, senior managers, newer positions, and senior directors. Again, they're in positions way higher than me. And I'm so incredibly proud of them. I'm so happy for them that I cheer them on. And even just recently, both of them had messaged me, because one of them just started a new job, both leaving Paramount. One of them starts a new job soon. I think tomorrow's her last day, so I'm going to message her again. They're like, we couldn't have done this without you, Sarita. And it's like, it makes me so happy, because it makes me know that how I saw where they started to where they're at now. And they even have that gratitude, and they pass that down, and they're like, oh, I'll never forget what you taught me. And when it comes to my own mentees, there are so many young women that look up to me. And even like sometimes when I'll like even go to the Pilates studio sometimes, and I'll hear about a young Caribbean girl who I had one of the other instructors, Dion, like tell me the other day that there's another instructor, Dion. She told me the other day that another Caribbean girl like came to the studio and did a class just because I, did it. And the reason why I'm rushing you guys off is because tonight is my first night teaching. One of my followers came back from Korea. She's Guyanese, but she flew back from Korea, and she's only here for a very short period of time. And she booked out the studio with her friends just so I can be the instructor for the night.
Oh,
so
that's
like
a beautiful thing. Yeah.
It's like faith and her, and her sort of, conviction in me and my purpose. And then also knowing that how I'm still, inspiring other people, that mentorship and whatnot, still continue to grow and learn. It's not just about the industry. It's just about human connection. I think that how that mentorship goes beyond just industry stuff. It goes so much with life.
I love it. So, Cuzzo, you got anything?
No, I'm good. Baby, take us home.
So with that being said, Sarita, first of all, I just want to tell you honestly, like I'm proud of you, and we're proud of you, because it really fills us with joy when we see Black and brown people really bust ass. That's just the bottom line. When they don't take no for a fucking answer, and they don't take excuses for an answer, and they just bust ass, and they show that that work ethic is undeniable, right? Because a lot of the time society says the stigmatism on us is we're lazy and we don't want to work for things. So it just fills us with joy, honestly, when we get to interview people like yourself that come on and be like, nah, I manifested this shit. And I did the steps, and I started at the bottom, and I didn't take no for an answer. So, from the More Than the Title family, we want to give you your flowers and say, we're gonna clap it up for you and say congratulations. The only thing that I'll say is we hope, because we experienced this too, and you spoke on it, we hope that you actually take the time to enjoy your own accolades, and because you can get caught up with pushing so much that you don't enjoy the moments of when you're backstage and when you're at these key moments. You're like, holy shit, I did this, right? So just, that would be our only thing. Take the time to enjoy your moments. Well, with that being said, we want to welcome you to the More Than the Title family. Welcome to the More Than the Title family, right? Let me tell you what that entails, right? We don't gatekeep. You are episode 229, which means we have 228 episodes before you. You now have access to any person that has ever been on this show before you. And any person that will future be on this show. Now, you don't have to be in the same industry or anything. If you want to meet a person and connect, this is what we do. We start a group chat normally with us and the guests after the show. And if you want to meet somebody, or if we got to play, because a lot of times when we see plays that we might be able to help you out, we'll text you directly, or you'll text me, or you'll text us and say, hey, I want to meet a person. We'll check your schedule, check their schedule, put you on a Zoom call, and then we jump off, right? All we do is introduce you guys, and then what you guys do from that is up to you, because we've already vetted our guests on the show. So that's part one, right? And we've done that 2-3 dozen times at this point. So please use that to your advantage, right? That's number one. Number two, if you have any type of event coming up, we love to show support. It doesn't matter if we're covering or not. If you have any type of event coming up that you would like us to come through and show support or cover it or whatever the case, we love to do that also, again, because it takes a village to start you off, right? It takes a village to get you where you are, but it takes a village to also continue you on your path. And now you are part of our village, and we love to say that we are a part of your village. So welcome to the More Than a Title family.
Yeah.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you know what this segment is. Listen, I told you phenomenal, right? And she got to go, but I told you phenomenal, right? So she's spirited and she's fiery, and we're going to have a part two because she's a triple Pisces. So there's no way you can have a part one without a part two, right? But again, some of the key takeaways that she said, right? She said, listen, I was born in one country and moved to a completely different country, okay? I was immersed in different cultures that I wasn't familiar with, and then came to a third country where I had to now relearn an entirely new culture, right? But she didn't take that for granted, right? Oftentimes people with more opportunities take those opportunities for granted, right? But she got here and she put boots to the ground and she manifested her own destiny. She told us a bunch of times that she was not afraid to start from the bottom, right? Internships, whatever it took. She had 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs, right? It didn't matter because nothing was going to stop her from her goal, right? And now that even if she is no longer at the company she's with, all she did was now pivot and start something else because she already did the work in the foundation to be able to make that successful. All of that to say, once again, it reiterates what we tell you guys every single show. The dream is free, but the hustle, well, that's sold separately. You know what it is, man. It's More Than a Title. We're going to have another episode. Miss Sarita, we appreciate you. We're going to see y'all next week. And, man, it's your favorite podcast. You know what it is. We see y'all next week, man.
What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? I done it all, just one.